Thank you all for being here. Apologize for, we're actually all here on time and we're still starting 10 minutes late. So, welcome to this workshop of the Temple City Council. It is currently 10 minutes after 2 on March 21st. First item is public comments. I don't see any scribbles over there. No? All right, then we'll move straight into the work session. First item is to discuss any regular meeting agenda items that's posted tonight for discussion, whether it's on the consent or regular agenda. So council or staff, anybody have anything
Item E.
on consent?
Yeah, consent. What was the revision or?
So this is the, and you and I had talked about this briefly, to kind of reduce the scope down, remove the rear driveway access. The original plan included moving all of the driveway access behind it to the rear of the homes. And as we got further into the evaluation of the project, the disruption to homes for that, both through right-of-way needs and then the cost of it. Staff does not feel like that is, that adds the value compared to the cost. So we're recommending to continue with the project, but leave the driveway access in the front of the home. So this contract amendment would allow us to redesign for that, and ultimately it's going to save us money for the project, and I think that make a more convenient project for the residents as well.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll still also provide that access from 16-2 to get down to Jeff Hamilton. So
Pretty good. Satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. What else? Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I would like to highlight item G. Consider adopting a resolution authorizing a 3-year term contract for bank depository services with Cadence Bank of Temple. And we have some Cadence Bank reps in the room with us, and our treasury manager, and we just, we're looking forward to the relationship and a smooth transition.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is a move from what institution?
PNC.
Okay.
How long we've been with?
Well, when we first started, it was BBVA, and that was in 2015. And then they got bought out by PNC in 2021 was when we did that transition. So
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, and also mention that item 6 on the regular agenda is the second and final reading of the zoning case that, I think actually our first reading may have been in January, if memory serves correctly. Council had asked staff to do some work on, with the applicant, related to some concerns that were brought up by the school district, as well as some other use concerns. So I just wanted to mention that the developer was very amenable to working with staff, and so we think we're bringing back something that meets the direction that you all asked us to take. And then I would also say that while we feel like we're ready to present this for your approval tonight, we will continue to work with the applicant on some opportunities with adjacent land, and so maybe some additional development standards. So, but where staff does feel comfortable moving this forward, and I just wanted to highlight that this is the second reading based on direction from council with the work from the applicant as well. Very, they were very, as I mentioned, very willing to work with us. And
Yeah.
so appreciate that.
I'll just add to that I spoke with Mr. Griffin last night and thanked him for working with us, and so we look forward to seeing him today, just so everybody knows.
A willing developer is always appreciated.
Yeah.
Especially
Susan's
around
done a
school.
lot of the footwork, talking to Dr. Ott and talking to the developer, and working with me and his wife, and so thank you, Susan.
Oh, they're nice people.
They are.
But I'm not sure they'll be here today. They probably will, but they were a bit concerned about potential thunderstorms and I-35.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else? All right, just a quick note on item 3. Chief Reynolds is not going to Is not going to present to us today. Everybody knows he had a cough yesterday, so we can scratch him off for today. We'll catch you next time. Okay, anything else? Staff, everybody good? All right, we'll move on to item 2, which is to receive the City of Temple annual boards and commissions reports. Ms. Carolyn.
All right, so as you know, every year, twice a year, you hear the brief agended version of your complete boards and commissions report, which you have in front of you. And so just as a reminder of policy, every year, each board will submit to the council a report that outlines their previous year's activities, as well as any work plans and goals, recommendation, as well as their attendance. We do this twice a year. Today, you're going to hear the April 1 appointments, which is actually on your agenda this evening. And so this will be for Building Standards Commission, Development Standards Advisory Board, Historic Preservation, Library Advisory Board, Main Street Advisory Board, Neighborhood Revitalization, Parks and Rec, and Zoning Board of Adjustment. Just a few little quick stats for these 8 boards over the last year. 83 members met for a total of 72 meetings. So jumping right into the Building and Standards Commission, they heard 17 cases over the course of 5 different meetings. 13 property owners received orders to demo, and 4 property owners received orders to secure. Their goals and work plan is just to continue working through hearing cases and advising on demo orders or repair orders. Your Development Standards Advisory Board, this is one that only meets as needed. They have not met since June of 2021. However, one of their goals is to start meeting quarterly. Did you have a question, Mark? Okay. Yeah, I thought you would. So,
We're going to discuss quarterly if there's anything to discuss during the year.
That would be a Richard Wilson question.
They're
I'm here. What was that, Mike?
It's online.
Richard, this is Liz. I'm going through the Development Standards Advisory Board annual report. Why will y'all want to start meeting quarterly?
I guess just to try to encourage, the board to come up with ideas and, things that we can implement or change as needed. That's the only reason. Just, nothing's happened for 3 years, and it's probably time that we try to push the meetings a little bit.
Do we need that board? They haven't met for 3 years. It's not often. I'm all in if it's use. I just don't want to waste our volunteers' time.
We need the board.
So we need
If there's
to
nothing
beef up meetings and stuff.
I think
Right.
that the purpose of the Development Standards Advisory Board, just as a reminder, is if staff is reviewing a possible change to the requirements related to infrastructure development then we vet that proposal through this board, which has members from different trades that provide some really important perspective. So while they may not meet often, when we do have a proposal, I think that the advice that they give you based on those recommendations and the advice that they give staff is beneficial. And so I think, we try not to convene a meeting just to have a meeting, which is why you've seen they haven't had the need to meet because we haven't had a proposal to bring them. But when we do, I think having that citizen advisory board is a helpful component of our development standards process.
I think some of them, if their meeting may have some items that they just haven't brought forward, or they may bring forward in a meeting.
Yeah, and that has, that ties in with the plan of work. If we have the one meeting and I present a plan of work that has 10 items on it and none of them gain any traction, then we won't have another meeting.
Is there any more questions on this board? Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
So the Historic Preservation Board, they've been very busy over the last year receiving and discussing different preservation information and training for their board. They completed an RFP for Historic Research Survey, have worked very closely with the Bird Creek Indian Battle Site, and also promoted National Preservation Month, as well as received approved COA updates. Their work plan is the same as last year. It's in your booklet in front of you. They have a pretty extensive work plan that they work through their goals. Some of their current activities that are underway is, again, working towards getting different wayfinding signs and things up at the Bird Creek Indian Battle site, different public information meetings, also working on that Chapter 17 amendment, which y'all are familiar with, and also continuing the process of becoming a designated certified local government through the Texas Historical Commission. Their goals and work plan is to continue additional historic preservation activities, also create a preservation grant opportunity program. The Library Advisory Board had policy updates for their loan policy, computer use policy, and outreach policy, as well as recommended the adoption of the library master plan and also recommendations to the library outreach bookmobile. Their big goal in the upcoming year is to recommend and look at sites for the satellite bridge. Main Street Advisory Board, as you're all aware, when Dan retired, this board decided to opt for an allowable 1 year of absence from the Main Street program. And so they have started to implement and evaluate a more customized look at downtown. So they are giving themselves until December 31st to either continue with the Texas Main Street program or to continue with more of a localized, customized downtown initiative. However, they were very busy in this last year because they didn't stop meeting until November of 23. And so they just did their same activities, the photo and painting contest, all the First Fridays, the business after hours, Imagine the Possibilities tour, and hosted various businesses and receptions. And again, their report's pretty lengthy too inside of your booklet there. Neighborhood Revitalization Advisory Board, this last year, they really worked as a focus group for all the neighborhood plans that have been brought forth to you, as well as on the Love Your Neighborhood program. They also provided volunteer support for neighborhood planning activities that you can see there. And their goals is really to assist with housing and community development programs, as well as serve as a focus group for any future neighborhood plans. Parks and Rec received numerous external presentations. One of their big projects was the sports facility audit. They also heard from the Central Texas Youth Softball Association, and their internal reports had to do with the Yard Food Truck Plaza, which y'all are familiar with, as well as the Youth Sports Association policy update. They also formed subcommittees which will look at capital improvement projects. And so their main thing is just to recommend to council and city manager their sports audit, as well as the destination marketing strategy. Moving forward, they want to look at fee recommendations, approval of local youth sports associations, annual reports, the recommendation of different facility and park naming, as well as ongoing subcommittee meetings regarding those CIPs. And finally, your zoning board of adjustment. This is another one that only meets as needed. Last year, they met 3 times and heard 3 different variance requests. All 3 of those variance requests were approved. And that is your boards and commissions report for this first cycle. Does anybody have any questions?
Council?
Just want to commend you on the colors. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
It's pretty.
Thank you. Thank you. Just as I always do, I just want to thank staff and the liaisons that work on not just these board reports, but getting these meetings together every month. So I appreciate them. They make it easy to work with. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen, have you ever counted how many agendas your office prepares monthly? Do you have a number for that? Like,
We do a lot of those. Agendas as well, park owners.
Yeah.
Then the. County and community developments.
lots of timelines for posting?
Yes,
Yeah.
now that we have PrimeGov, it's made it a little bit easier for us because the meetings are auto-populated, and so, we know the week prior to the meetings that have to be posted by the deadline, so
Yeah.
it's easy for us to reach out and say, you've got, so we need to put together.
It's a lot of work to get the agenda built and a lot of time.
Well, we review them, legal reviews them, we don't do the meat of it, the preparation, but we read over it, make sure everything's correct. It's a process.
Well, good. We appreciate it. No, it's a lot. Sometimes we forget about those things. that Just, as we said yesterday, about a million times the maintenance.
Yeah.
Good. You're up.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, council, for having us again. This is an update for 5 months. So, beginning of this fiscal year, which is October 23 through the end of February. If we could have pushed it off a couple more weeks, I could have had the full 6 months. This is pretty good.
You never push these presentations off.
Well, never's a strong word, sir. So once again, the org chart, and I was talking to someone earlier and they said, I am sick of looking at org charts, but here we are. The two highlighted in yellow are vacant positions. But this one's not vacant, which is why it's not as bold. We hired a fellow named Hunter Miles. He started Monday and he keeps coming back. So that's a plus. He seems smart and happy and a go-getter. I overheard him talking to a young lady who came in this morning, very concerned about the state of her apartment and very caring, got her information and stuff. So hopefully we don't beat the care out of him this morning. Have love in his heart. And the parking enforcement official, we're still going back and forth on that. Mark, our parking manager, doesn't want it filled just yet. He doesn't feel like he has the work for 2 full-time until we get everything going on the garages. So we're leaving it vacant for the time being. We're considering shifting it back to a part-time position, but I'm not sure about that. We're not ready to give it up yet. Okay, so of course we have our projects team. There's some numbers up here which I'll address. That's them putting up or taking down Christmas decorations this last year. So our tool library, you can see our numbers, still pretty impressive. New patrons every month, even through the cold months, are typically our slow months. I can tell you right now, as the mow season is kicking back in, that we have all our mowers and most of our trimmers reserved through the end of next week. So people are calling, hey, can I get a mower? And we're saying, wait, not yet. You're gonna have to wait. And so we put them on a list, and that'll keep extending out too. So we're working on getting new tools. More tools, yes, ma'am. Dumpster drop, we've done a bunch of them. We're considering expanding to a couple more areas as well. But the big numbers are a little over 13 tons of trash and 552 tires. Once again, we say, of course, it's not a 1-to-1, but we like to think of this as 13 tons that would have gone on the side of the road or are helping people who have difficulty getting to the dump, even though they get one free a month, don't have a truck or whatever. So this gives them a way to get rid of some of that debris. It's really worked out, and we're happy with this program. We hear nothing but good stuff about it. In fact, we met with PD this morning, the fella with a citizen, and he was raving about the dump. So we want to, of course, continue to do that. Cleanups. There's a dumpster, and those are our guys on some lots we purchased down off of MLK. The city purchased, actually the TRC purchased, and them just cleaning up. So this is winter. This is what our mow crew does during the winter. Is they clean up trees, broken branches, of course, take care of equipment and stuff. We had some mower issues this year. I think it's been resolved, but so when they couldn't mow, they were doing this kind of stuff. And they picked up almost 40 tons of trash. What was the big number it really got added to? Why, Chad? There was some, oh, the Langfield, the remainder of the Langfield. Those beers, they were there long before you guys, I think. They were huge. Anyway, so from their shop and then some city-owned lots, we pulled almost 40 tons. They did that within those 2 or 3 months over winter when they weren't really mowing. So that's impressive. Projects, here's a couple. There's a board up there. And it looks like a homeless camp cleanup, and probably could have picked a photo where everybody wasn't standing around with their hands in their pockets. But there is some downtime even on the project.
I know that building.
I wasn't going to say anything, but yes, sir, you do. So there's also some homeless cleanup underneath. That's that turnaround over by Salmon's and the highway, and then just our normal scooping up leaves off the street. They're out there doing that every day. Infill program, we're still really proud of it. I want to shout out everybody that we work with, but specifically Sandra and really Laura Ty from Tracy's team keep us lined up. They give us the numbers and say, hey guys, you need to look at this. So we're looking on the ground. We're really working with finance, and they're watching what we're doing and saying, hey, this one's coming towards the end, or the time's up, or whatever. We appreciate their help. It's invaluable. So right now we have 6 projects going. There's been a couple of slowdowns on some of them. The red dots, of course, represent where they are in town. So they're kind of spread out, and that's good. Some historic district, and then down to the south and east in Ferguson and Crestview areas. Since some numbers, I had another number, but since 2017, we've had 42 infill projects. And what Laura has done for us is looked at the beginning appraised value, and that's at the beginning of the project. So that could have been 17, 18, 19, whenever the project began. The appraised value of the property was $1,777,000. The current appraised value as of a couple of weeks ago, was $5,843,000. Now that's not all our infill, but that's for those properties, and we're part of that. And that's a huge increase in that property. So that's an increase of a little over, or a lot over, 65,000 is a lot, over $4 million. Now, the other thing I asked my staff to do and work with Laura on is to not only look at the specific properties, but a property on either side, because we know if you fix up your house, it also brings up the value of the houses around it. Brittany did give me those numbers. I did not get them in the presentation, but I'll have them for you. That number will be even. So we're proud of that. It's a great program. We hear a lot of good feedback.
Are you able to, is there any way to compare? I mean, everybody's property's going up, good,
That's
better,
right.
and different.
I
What's the
thought the same
relationship?
thing. So what I need to do, the problem is, since we're looking at beginning in multiple years, it's hard for me to say, okay, this is the average since 2017 that the property's gone up. Now I could look at all those properties, these same 42 in 2017, said this is what they're worth now, and then subtract whatever the increase in value on average is across the board. And I'm happy to do that.
Oh, I'm not trying to get you to do a lot of extra work, and I don't know that that would really be worthwhile, because is that really going to show us? I mean, it will show us the value of doing the infill properties, but it doesn't show us that it necessarily is affecting by X amount the abutting properties.
That's right. I agree with you. And I have to be careful as I start digging into these numbers, because it starts becoming fun just to look at numbers.
Yes, it does.
And the payoff is not what, just looking at numbers doesn't do anything. Without this number, I think the infill program is worth.
Oh,
keeping up.
absolutely. There's
But
no
this is
question.
just proof to,
It is totally worth it. Yes.
oh, I'm sorry, I did have the surrounding property. Well, apparently I was better than I thought. So if you look at the surrounding properties, we're looking at 42 infill projects with 84. That's one on each side, or if it was on a corner behind it or across the street. The beginning appraised value for all those was $9.5 million. Current appraised value is 21.5. So that's an increase of almost $12 million. Boy, I feel stupid now. So that's a big number. And we don't know dollar for dollar how much it affected those on either side, but it had to help. We know it did.
And this increase is only related to the surrounding properties, not the infill properties.
No, the infill and the
Okay.
the one on either
All right.
side, or nearby.
So this is the previous slides in number plus this number, the increase.
Right, so we're adding another, what,
Yes.
$7 million.
Okay,
Almost
got it. Thank you.
7.5. Still impressive number. Big number.
Very, very impressive.
Abatement, we've mowed city properties 169 times. Currently, we're mowing, and I want to make this clear, 170 city-owned properties. And some of those properties are TRCs. About a third of those are CIP projects, so they will roll off. But right now, we're mowing them. 143 code orders to mow. That means they go out there because your grass is too high. Of that approximate number, 48 got mowed by the owners between the time we ordered it to be mowed and the time the guys got there, and then 92 of them we mowed. I'll try to speed up, Jana, I know.
Hey, you got cheese time. You're good.
Oh, sweet.
No, I'm.
I got Brent signed that.
Chairman, it's only because I asked him questions.
It is not your fault. It's Michael Habermas.
You have to officially request your time back. That's the question.
So tires, we already saw this 552 number. That's from the dumpster drop, the events that we've had. And then off street, once again, it's just driving down the street and seeing some tires and picking them up where they're not supposed to be. So that's a bunch of tires, almost 1,000. And then, and what I'll say about that is, unlike, the dumpster drops, we're not sure where that trash would have wound up. We know where these tires would have wound up because they were already there. These 450 were on the street. We literally picked those up. And signs like those, yes, we did call the number. Almost 700 of those signs. And that's slowed down. But Chad will tell you that just the fact that we get them so quick means that people are not putting them out there as quickly because they lose their money. They pay $3 or $1 a piece to put them up. If you get them down in a minute.
You forgot about the one toilet
The one toilet that
y'all picked up.
are the one that you told us about?
Right. I'm just wondering why it's not on.
I had that in the last presentation. That's been
Has it been that long?
Yes, sir.
It's burned into my mind.
I called you out last
Passing somebody's John every day.
That you mean the yard art that was in the middle of the meeting.
I can start tracking toilets.
We'll set a special column aside for toilets.
We do ones with petunias.
Only petunias, that's right. Jupi Slabs, this is TRC, Temple Revitalization Corporation, purchased this property from Jupi. They torn down the warehouses. We asked for, and y'all gave us money for demolition of these slabs. It's moved on since here, but basically that's, it's better than this, but it's still, there's a lot of concrete out there, tons and tons.
And that's contracted out, the demolition.
Yes, ma'am. We don't have, I can't. I mean, I guess we could, but we wouldn't do anything else for this year.
Yeah.
So I already talked to y'all that we're using, with the UBO, we're using our grading that we've doing through the neighborhood planning district process, and the UBO tells us about water shutoffs. When people move out of houses, we jump on them real quick and red tag them if we can. I think I used the same picture last time y'all were talking about the plants or something. So we've red tagged 17 houses since October, and then we've sent 180 complaints to Judge Person's court. That's the tagging system. And then we also did Windcrest demo, which was a huge demo. We've all got in on that one.
Yes, thank goodness.
There's before and after. We got that done last month. Looks so much better. And actually, we had just finished when Bryn said, "What's the status of the one?" So I was able to send her photos of that demo right there. This was a nightmare. We all know it. We're glad it's gone. So
Terrific.
yeah, looks better. And we have a new lot open up for potential infill. So maybe that'll wind up actually paying something off in the future. We're not doing time violations, meaning we're not giving people tickets. This is downtown parking, sorry. Not giving people time violations for parking too long. We don't have that system set up yet, although the equipment's coming in along with the EV stations. They're being shipped to us to be installed soon. But we have done 88 improper parking. That means backing in, parking over the line, various improper parking tickets. We finished the garages, don't totally have access to them, working with IT and finance on EV stations, license plate recognition cameras, ticketing software, ticketing hardware. still training our parking enforcement official. And then Mark constantly is tracking parking patterns. I get downtown pretty early. My brother and I go down on First Street and have a cup of coffee. I always see Mark down there. And right behind Mark, I see Chad driving. They're both looking where are people parking, when are they parking, what's going on. So we're down there early in the morning. Case count for FY24 goes up and down. First column, high grass, junk and debris, junk vehicle, parking on grass, and then other, which would be other permitting or something like that, a building without a permit. So it's just 5 months through February from October. Obviously, the high grass, which is this first column, dropped down because grass didn't grow. And then now it's picking back up. I have no idea what happened on junk and debris in February, but somebody found another gear because all of a sudden the 77 is huge. But you also do see as the grass drops down, these other cases kind of start rising up because it gives the guys more time to do that. We were also down a code officer from basically October. So we were a man down this whole time. The numbers are pretty good. You look at the year by year comparison, 22, 23, and then this year. Once again, they kind of flow. But this year, in February, we had more cases than we did even when we were fully staffed in FY22. So we don't only look at numbers. There's more to it than that. The amount of time you spend with people, that is a metric that we use to kind of see how everything's going. And then I guess that's it. Moving forward, downtown parking, here's kind of a timeline as of about a month ago when we think everything's going to be happening. And I'm not going to read those off. You can see them. But everything's moving forward. Some of it's slower than we would like, but it is moving forward. Code, we're doing a 30, 60-day case review, meaning if a case is over 30 days or 60 days, we tag it and then speak about the case specifically, like what are y'all doing? Where are y'all headed with it? Do we need to close this? Are you really doing something since court? Oh, we're excited about being able to use the court of record to clean up some of these lots where we're not getting a lot of activity. We're considering revising our MO fees. It's flat $200, whether it's just a little bitty square in somebody's front yard or a huge quarter-acre lot. It's all $200. We should do that. And then continued enforcement of our street use and parklet program downtown specifically. The department as a whole, excited to get management and some training that's already started, and we appreciate strategic initiatives and people operations for kind of putting on some of those classes so we can get in there and kind of train this next generation of folks. We have one open position, spoke about that earlier. Currently slated to be funded is an additional demo money. So as Liz was doing her presentation, theoretically we could meet with building and standards once a month, but we meet every other month because if we met every month, we'd be out of money quickly. Plus it's really time consuming to get all the cases, do everything you need. So as we increase that dollar amount, it allows us to expand throughout the city and demo in other areas than just our low to moderate income. So we're keeping our CDBG money is what I understood for demos. And then y'all have increased some of our general fund money. Still looking forward to updating our chapter 37 parking fee structure in chapter 37. We're considering a cash payment option for parking tickets. Not sure how that's going to work, but we're looking at it. Maybe have a kiosk where somebody can go pay cash that doesn't have access to online or whatever. They can really walk up, put cash in, pay a parking ticket. And then we're may expand that over to other bills too. We're working with your staff on that. And
They
then,
put money into a lockbox or somebody would
no,
be?
ma'am, it would be just like a cash machine.
Oh,
Take money in and
okay.
that's it. The contention right now is it safe? We think it is because it's not going to hold that much money. It would be inside a building. Number two, to get one is, I forget what Mark said, $15,000. Is it worth that? But to get one that gives change like nickels and quarters costs like $30,000. So if you went up there, you owe $24.27, you put in $25, it's keeping your change for the $15,000, which if all I had was cash and I wanted to pay my bill and get it off, it'd be worth the 37 cents. Anyway, it's consideration. We're still looking at it. That's it.
Very good.
I want to say something about Buford. He knows this and Chad knows this because we've said it
Oh,
to them many times. I don't want to say anything nice about you too often, but
Yeah, let's keep it to a minimum.
these guys, our office has personally used them 3 times in the last as many months. They helped us get all the records over from the old bank building that they're gonna demo. And our election equipment was delivered, came in an 18-wheeler, and, you know, they couldn't get in the parking lot, so these guys took it pallet by pallet. And then we unloaded it and they broke down all the boxes, and they are the nicest group of guys. They genuinely seem happy to be there. You can call Chad or Buford and he'll have 5 or 10 guys there in a matter of minutes. On top of everything else that they are supposed to do every day. So I just want to thank you guys and thank your staff again.
they get nicer, the further down in that org chart you go, the nicer. They go up at the top, it's not nice.
Bunch of divas.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And that's a really good point, because one of the things that inspired the establishment of Buford's department was really the idea that there's sometimes, or perhaps even often, probably often, areas that need the city involved, but they don't neatly fit into a certain department's area. And so part of the inspiration for the department originally was someone to call when you don't know who to call. And sometimes when you grow with all of the responsibilities, the day-to-day operational responsibilities that have been placed on the department, I think there can be a tendency to kind of want to shy away from it, because it is inconvenient at times. But I've never seen Buford or Chad or anybody in their department take that task. I think they have always been willing to do whatever it is that needs to be done, whether it's picking up bats from under a bridge, or delivering water to a meeting at the last minute, or just really anything. And they never complain about it, and they never make you feel like you're an inconvenience to them, or you're asking them to do something that they'd rather not do. They may feel that way, but they don't make you feel that way. So I appreciate that. I think that comes from the leadership, and it's permeated down through the department, and the type of people that are hired, and the culture that you've created. So thank you.
Well, thank you both for saying it. I will, go ahead.
Well, while we're at it, I mean, I just would throw in with that, because when they get to court and they're testifying, and I mean, people who come to court on a code enforcement case go through multiple layers. They go through Kathy's folks, they go through Tracy's folks, they get to court, and you would think there's a lot of animosity coming at that staff like all the time. And they're not shy about doing it in court either. And they just stay very calm. And so, a jury watching that, there's a lot of credibility that comes with that. So I really, we're not talking about him. But I mean, as far as like just how everybody's trained, how everybody implements, it's very calm, it's very methodical. And, it's it lends credence to positive outcomes.
Thank you all for saying it. I will say though, Bryn, if your staff calls and need something, we would be stupid. If we weren't gonna come and help you.
It is my expectation and my experience from hearing from others, though, that it doesn't take the city manager's office calling. Whoever calls you, and I've heard that from departments, and I've heard that from citizens and residents, that when they need something, they can call you or Chad or one of your team members, and you find a way to make it happen easily. And, again, that not feeling like it's a burden to them. And I've heard that again from people outside the organization and within. So that's correct. It's a true marker of not when I call and ask you to do something, but when somebody else does, and you always do that, I think, without complaint and with love in your heart.
With love in our hearts. Thank you. We got a lot of good folks for it. Yes, ma'am.
So before you move on, so I noticed the mowing going up for February, but then you only have 3 crew members. Is that one's a soup and then there's 2 members? Is that enough?
For code compliance?
It was on your.
Oh, for the mow. Well, see, here's the problem.
The infill and
Right.
demos or whatever.
Here's the problem. No, it's not enough in June or July. But it's 3 more people than we need for mowing in December and January. So we've kind of balanced that, and that is a number we've come up with. I will be asking for more members for the mow crew. Or maybe a partial, they can in the winter clean up downtown and in the summer. And we do get behind in the summer. It takes a while. But in the winter, it's.
So the other thing that we've asked Buford to be sure to do is that if he feels like he's getting to the point where he needs an infusion of resources during the heavy mowing season,
Yeah.
please reach out and we can bring in contracted resources. So it may not make sense to have a crew added year round,
Yeah.
but we certainly stand ready, and Tracy and her team have always been very helpful in that if we need to bring in some contracted resources to kind of clip off that heavy time period, we're able to do that as well.
And we didn't have to last year. Cause, there wasn't much to mow. We didn't have to the couple years before that, cause even though the winter just killed everything. So, but we do have that available. Thank you.
Do you need more mowers for the tool library? Machines?
Chad says yes.
Well,
We've talked about this.
working to get up to 10.
But you only have, I mean, you said something about a waiting list for people at the tool library for mowers.
Yeah, let me, so we're considering moving into a new space. And Bren brought up this very, point, last week, I guess it was, when we had a meeting. So we're looking to the future to add more, but there's more than just the number of mowers. There's also the staff time it takes to kind of track all this stuff.
Sure.
And we're getting to the point where we need a dedicated person to maintain these mowers, and we don't have that. We are not just maxed out on machines, we're maxed out on the people that we can use and the space that we have.
And maintenance of the.
Maintenance of the stuff, because they have to be cleaned and
Sure, of
checked and
course.
everything. So we've got a plan moving forward that we're hoping will happen in the next year or so, where we can expand our space, have a centralized space, so we're not running tools around all over.
Okay.
And people can come to. So that is in mind. Yes, ma'am. We don't have enough now, but we
Okay.
did buy some more trimmers recently. We're shifting our whole mow, if we can, our whole mow operation from gasoline to are they battery powered? They're just electric. They're battery powered. So we're trying to make it easier to store, safer, easier for people to haul around.
And where are you moving to physically?
Susan, if you'll recall, the council has allowed us to start some schematic design work of what we're calling the resource hub.
Oh, right.
Which is behind
Sure.
the old park facility now that
Right.
they've moved
Yeah.
to their new home at their administration facility behind the Gober Party
Right.
House. We're looking at a co-located facility that would offer opportunities for recycling, paint remixing,
Right.
the tool
Right.
library, a material reuse center. So
Yeah, I remember
as-
Justin telling us all about
Yes,
that the
thank you.
last time he was here.
So that facility would be kind of falling under Buford's department's I guess management. And so one thing that I've asked the department to do, Buford and his team to do, is to make sure that we're evaluating what level of tools we need to add, both in quantity, but also in types. Although he told me we couldn't have a log splitter, so
We couldn't have a what?
a log splitter.
Oh, a log splitter.
Tell me no, sometimes.
I do.
So they are working on evaluating.
Bryn wanted a log splitter. I told her no, she couldn't have a log splitter. It's dangerous.
She wants to go.
Somebody will hurt themselves with a log
Yeah.
splitter.
Yeah, it is.
Pardon me?
We can have a log chipper.
Dangerous, more dangerous. Anyway, Bryn, I'm sorry.
So we're working on making sure that we have a plan for what tools are needed to take our program into the future. And that in addition, we have the staffing resources, because the program has, I think, really taken off in the last year. while we've had it in place for, quite a bit of time now, I don't remember exactly when we started it, but I think it's really started to, there's been an increased awareness, in the last year or two. And so I think we're really seeing some great success, and I think that will continue, especially, if we have some more visibility, when we open the resource hub.
Staff went to a SEAT conference, Code Enforcement Association of Texas. I didn't go. Chad went, Tom. People. And we looked at Arlington's very fancy tool library program, and not to talk bad about Arlington, I'm sure they're doing fine. They had like 3 mowers.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
4 mowers for Arlington. And we've got twice that now. And they took everything everywhere. And of course, we help people if we can, but in general, you have to come pick stuff up. But ours is way outpaced Arlington, Texas. And I looked at, Arlington's huge compared to us. So we feel like we're doing pretty good.
Stadiums have fake grass.
It takes up a lot of space. A lot of square footage of fake grass there.
Lots of concrete.
Yeah.
Log splitter.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a good idea. to have one.
Someone going with the hand, I'm not gonna do it.
Yes, next time we.
Somebody asked me for a table saw, one of our staff, and I said, no, we do not have a table saw, but I have one person in it. So there are options, but we're not gonna table saw. Someone's gonna do the hand.
Little girl. Speaking of all this, are people signing waivers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Waivers at your department, I try to keep a lot of stuff.
So what's the difference? My skin crawl. Let me have a log splitter, I'll sign a waiver.
Kathy, I try to not really announce a lot of this stuff around you. Perhaps unsurprisingly. Yeah, but we do. Everybody, y'all helped us create years ago a waiver. We have releases and they, rules, et cetera, et cetera. So, but that's another reason, sorry to go back to my argument, that we need somebody full-time for maintenance. Because if you got 10 mowers out there, that means 10 trimmers, 10 blowers, whatever you got. This stuff comes back in. You not only have to make sure it works, but that the blade doesn't go flying off or something like that. So you lose a handle.
Very important. Or an eye.
Nancy's laughing at me.
No, we're talking about this spring, for, the slide.
That just means high grass is coming. That looks like a problem in 2 weeks. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your support.
Thank you.
But that took about 45 minutes.
Dad, you stood up. You don't have a presentation.
Now it's Chad's turn.
That's all that circle over there. Nancy, you ready?
I am, I'm ready. Yeah. So Buford did all those wonderful things. We totally missed the sausage segment. While we're talking about making sausage, yesterday, Sophie and I bought you some actual sausage.
It was all Nancy's idea. She just gave me an option to give her some money. And put my.
I totally had it going to where it was your idea too.
And agree with the back.
Okay, just for the record.
If you didn't chip in, you don't get credit.
I chipped in.
You did.
But I thought Nancy should be able to announce.
All right, well, thank you, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to give you guys just a brief view of our team. We are tiny but mighty. We have the same primary focus areas that we've had since the start of our department. Housing resources, neighborhood planning, of course, grant management, and now homeless services. The first quarter, we had 7 cases closed in our housing improvement program. We've been transitioning from having that managed by a subrecipient to doing it in-house through a program called Neighborly. And it has an online sort of bid system that we've had to kind of train our contractors on how to use and submit their bids through and stuff like that. So there's been kind of a learning curve with them, but I think we're finally getting to the point where they know how to access that system and submit their bids online. So I hope to see those cases increase. Our goal is to have our cases closed from start to finish within 60 days. So that's what we're working towards. Our Good Neighbor program closed at the end of October, and we ended the season with 35 clients served, and that's about to open up again the 1st of April, but that's been really, really successful. And this year we had a variety of different things. I think it was really cool. Just instead of the regular old lawn mowing, they also did some carrying off of some junk and debris, clearing the backyards of a couple of clients, and just helping in a variety of ways. So that was really, really good. We've also continued with our cleanup events. This is a picture of them cleaning up is it the Hodge Cemetery? Yeah. And that was on the United Way Day of Caring that we did that one, and are continuing to work with Keep Temple Beautiful as we transition into this partnership with them. We're trying to figure out like which organization is going to be responsible for what, and so we're still just kind of working along through all of that. Our heart program is just coming, like the first phase is coming to a close finally. At the time that I created this presentation, we had 2 clients in their homes, and now all 4 are in their homes and are really loving them. And we're still kind of working out a couple of just sort of punch list items for a couple of them, but all of the clients are really happy with the finished product, and we're just thrilled that they are they're finally in and enjoying their homes. Oh, and I do want to just say the next 5 are currently in design at MRB Group. They're working on the site plans for the next 5. And while they're working on multiples for us right now, we are going to bid them out one at a time moving forward. So as soon as they get a site plan completed with a bow on it, we're working with the purchasing department to get those out for bid one at a time. So that process is still moving forward for the next step. Our grant management division had a great first quarter of this fiscal year. The Temple Community Partnership Program, at the time I created this presentation, had paid out a little over $4,000. They've done quite a bit more than that now. We've also still been managing the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs funding. That's the home program funding. We've had several other inbound grants that have been applied for, and that number has increased quite a bit since the first quarter. But first quarter, we applied for $20,400 and were awarded $13,000 of that. CDBG funding is the differences between FY23 and 24. You see there on your screen, so a little over $100,000 more this fiscal year than last fiscal year. I've been getting some communication from the National Community Development Association that they watch Congress and budget proposals and that sort of thing. And the word on the street at this point is that it'll hold for next year, so we shouldn't see any changes in that. Hopefully that's the case, and so we're just going to plan to continue with our programming at the same level that we have it this year. You should know for sure any day now. They should release some information about what our FY25 funding will be. As far as Love Where You Live, you guys have been really involved with all of that. We completed the Bird Creek Neighborhood Plan, and we're really excited to sort of see the community engagement process really at work with that. Just really applaud you guys for hearing the feedback from that community and reacting to it in a positive way. It just really does, I think, show that y'all are listening and you do care about what the people in the neighborhoods really want to see, and that encourages others to really get involved. So great job with that. We're coming down to the end of the Barnhart District. The comment period is still open, I think, through the end of next week. And then we'll start with our boards and commissions reviews of that. So hoping to have that here for you guys to review shortly. And then Northwest Hills, we are Still working on that one. I think we're at about the point where we actually did action item development today and have some really cool plans for that neighborhood. Can't wait to show it to you. That we're getting down to the final aspects of that one as well, while also about to start East Downs. So East Downs is going to be our next one. You guys will see that soon. The neighborhood identification program is rocking along. We had some updates meetings this morning as well. Phase 1 construction has officially started. They are digging out in the neighborhood. I've had 2 residents call me and Zoe asked me, I think yesterday, I see them digging over there. Does that mean signs are coming? Yes, that means signs are coming. Really excited. Ferguson, Crestview, Historic, and Bel Air construction underway. So we're hoping to be able to get out and get some pictures of the work being done and try to get some positive PR going as well through that process. And then right after our phase 1 calls on Thursdays, we go into phase 2 calls right away. And so phase 2 is Midtown Garden, Jackson, and Temple Heights. And those are we're building construction documents right now for those districts. And they've done such a beautiful job of transferring the look and feel that was conveyed in the plan into reality. And it's just so much fun to watch them work. And I'm looking forward to that as well. They have been doing some surveying and checking for gas lines and water lines and things like that, the 811 testing on the sites for phase 2. So there has been some work out in the neighborhoods with those 2, like little flags out and stuff. And people have said, ooh, there's flags out. Does that mean signs are coming? Yep, signs are coming. So the neighbors are really, really excited about that. For our homeless services division, we've been really busy with that. The HART team, the Homelessness Assistance Response Team, has been developing a street outreach program. They're currently using Charity Tracker as sort of a centralized software system for tracking clients and making referrals. And the goal is for us to be able to start doing case management actually in the field ahead of having the Arbor of Hope campus. So they're identifying encampments, especially those that are sort of more higher profile, meaning that they're more visible and less hidden, and really sort of starting with those and getting out there and talking to those folks and finding out what barriers they're encountering and getting them into the system and hopefully into a process for ultimately getting out of homelessness. So that I think is something that is really exciting, just to see the agencies working together and really making that sort of group effort to get out there and try to help these folks. We're sort of pairing that with our new landlord engagement program, which I'll talk about in a second, and the tenant-based rental assistance vouchers, which we're also using. As far as the Arbor of Hope campus development goes, we've been sort of going back and forth with KPA about some different design ideas, and we hope to have something for you guys to consider soon with that, as well as the nonprofit structure. And then substance use disorder treatment is going to start back up again with Syntex, and through an extended contract with them through the end of this fiscal year. That I think is, now we're just down to the point of getting that agreement signed by everybody and then getting them set up with the new Amplifund grant software, which we're also really excited about. So they'll be able to.
Has there been a lapse in treatment funding for the?
Yes, sir. They ran out at the end of December. And so over the last 3 months, we've identified additional funding for them, thanks to Bryn and Tracy and her team, and yeah, everybody.
3 beds?
I'm sorry?
3 beds? Is that right?
So it's a fund of I think 120,000 if memory serves, and that will be used for as the clients go through their treatment program. If after the first 30 days they're ready for us to get them into housing, like we have housing available, or they're they have everything that they need to take that next step into housing, then we'll go ahead and move them in. But it's a 6-month treatment program, and I think it's $5,000 a month per client for that 6-month period. But like I said, we're gonna try to get more than 3 people through within that 6-month period per, kind of hard to, I'm not using good words,
That's
but
okay, I
we want to try to
Yeah,
have
with that.
more than 3 people, take advantage of it. But, yeah, it's $5,000 per month for 6 months, so it's 30,000 per person, which 120,000 would be 4 people. Thank you. But we want to do more than that, and we did the last time. We were able to utilize additional resources to get people through the treatment program, the 30-day treatment program, and then into housing right away, back to their families. In many instances, they were able to go home.
That facility has, is it 48 beds? Is that right?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's 48.
So obviously the city of Temple is providing funding for 3 or 4.
Yes.
Is that facility relatively full? I guess what I'm getting at is, I know they're not depending on the city of Temple to keep them afloat. I know that. But at any point, I wonder if there's a concern about them just not being around anymore to be able to provide this service for the city. And I know they had a state contract for a while that really, their margins were very slim. And so they moved away from the state contract, reduced the number of beds down to 48. And I just really, I'm just curious how they're doing. And that you may not be the person to ask that.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with their organizational capacity at this point. I can tell you that we have had some internal conversations with our purchasing department about next fiscal year and sort of how we want to approach the substance use disorder treatment program. My preference would be for us to have a fund available, and then when we have someone that is ready for treatment, we have an array of treatment facilities that we can go to and see if they're able to help them. We have Christian Farms Treehouse, Syntex. Now Hilltop Recovery Ministries is getting the Cora Anderson building renovated, so they'll be available soon, we hope, for overnight residents there as well.
That's still a county facility, correct?
Yes, the county owns it. Yes, sir.
And is the city paying rent for the Hilltop?
We did enter into an agreement, a multi-party agreement between the county, the city, and Hilltop. The county is providing the lease to the Hilltop for the building, and I believe taking on the responsibility of major maintenance items, so roof, HVAC, things like that. And then the city provided some grant funding for some of the interior finish out that was needed to make the space suitable for the residential accommodations for the treatment program. And then Hilltop's responsibility is to obviously operate the substance use treatment program. And as a reminder for council, that was a solution to bridge the gap between now and when facilities would be available at the Harbor of Hope. It's not intended to be a long-term location for that.
And
but-
Hilltop is female only, right?
That is correct, because Syntex does not provide services to, they're only a male facility. So we did have a gap in services for women who were experiencing substance use disorder and needed treatment. And that was, as council may recall, in our work through the mental health and homelessness plan, our data shows that we have a fairly high percentage compared to national standards or national averages for women who are experiencing homelessness here. So that was a really important, building block to our program. And so we appreciate, I know that Nancy and her team and Kathy and her team have done a lot of work. Appreciate the county coming along beside us and offering that facility. And then obviously Hilltop. And then I think Syntex is doing some mentoring for Hilltop as well. Is that correct? So while they don't provide services for women, they are helping to stand up the treatment. So it is a big, big partnership.
Are all of Hilltop's clients come from the city?
No.
Okay,
They have other referral agencies
Okay.
as well. I do believe that Centex is working towards accepting women at some point.
is that just a licensing?
I believe so.
issue?
Well, licensing and I think some facility laws may be
Okay.
needed as well.
Yeah.
But I think their goal is to ultimately be.
And Arbor of Hope is Arbor of Hope currently taking children of these folks that are in treatment? If there are any yet? I'm sorry, I said Arbor of Hope. I meant family, this whole thing is Arbor of Hope, but no, I meant Family Promise. If these people that are either with Hilltop or Centex, if there are children involved, where are they now? Do we know?
So my understanding is that Family Promise will only help the family as a unit. So typically if the parent, and I'm totally not completely familiar with all of Family Promise's policies, but my understanding is if one of the parents needs substance use disorder treatment, that would be something that it would, if they need it and they're part of that program, it would have to be an outpatient sort of
Okay.
thing where they
Got
would,
it.
they would still maintain the family unit as
Makes
the
sense.
Family Promise.
Okay. Now sorry, I just said,
That's okay.
Hilltop. They are an overnight facility, but
Not
they're inpatients,
yeah,
will be, but are not yet.
right.
Syntax is
overnight.
right now. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
That's okay. No, those are good questions. We are hoping to build that network and to create a more, I guess, sort of open market approach to the substance use disorder treatment in the future. So we're not putting all our eggs in one basket, so to speak. So we'll continue to work through that with our purchasing department in the coming year. The Market Loop mural project has continued. We had a group of volunteers come out to help to take that mural on around the corner. This next phase will be landscaping and repairing the fence along the top. It needs a lot of help. So we want to work with Keep Temple Beautiful to get that part of the project done, and then some plantings in the landscaping at Market Loop and 31st Street, across the street from Long John Silver's.
It's a great letter to the editor in today's paper about murals.
Oh,
I was gonna cut it out and I forgot, please look at it and save it because it's got wonderful ideas. I told Zoe too.
oh, good. Okay, great. Will do. As far as upcoming projects go, we want to continue to support the HEART program. As I mentioned, we have the next 5 clients currently under design. So I'm looking forward to getting those through the process and out to bid. We're also going to support the HEART team in their outreach efforts. The issue that we have right now is just that the nonprofits that we have don't have the people, the staff to do this work. So there's not a lot of like on-staff case managers available. So we want to try to provide that support for them, literally going into the field and working out there with them in support of that. We're trying to do it in a way that doesn't have negative consequences, unintended negative consequences. If you go out there as the City of Temple, which is what we are, I'm not Nancy Glover, I am the City of Temple. When I go out there, it's intimidating and it's scary for them. So we want to try to find a way that is useful to support them and not detrimental to the process, and still sort of navigating that, but really letting the nonprofits take the lead. And I've told Jeff Siegel, just tell me what I can do, to support you in the right way. And, and that's what we'll do. We'll probably support you. He is preparing to do another 2-week-long survey of people experiencing homelessness. As you guys might recall, we did that back in 2022 with Dr. Marbit. So it's now been 2 years almost. Can you believe it? So we just want to do a check-in and see what the numbers look like today. Are we seeing any changes, any other circumstances that are bringing people into homelessness that we need to know about? So Jeff and his team are really leading that effort, which has been great. And we're gonna just completely, fully support them in that. And it'll be interesting to see what the numbers look like.
Will that also include a homeless person? Yeah,
Yes.
last was pretty low.
Yeah, there were a lot of weird things that happened during the count that were really unfortunate. And same thing happened with this year too. So this will be a more comprehensive, rather than just a point in time kind of snapshot. It'll be a really comprehensive count of what we hope is everyone in the community.
And you're confident in their process?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna basically use the same one that we did last time and using the same forms, the same processes, all of that as we did under Dr. Margaret. So yeah, I'm very confident in it.
Thank
We're also gonna start our tenant-based rental assistance, which we already have. We have a client that we're working on right now as sort of, I don't wanna say a guinea pig, but a guinea pig to make sure we understand the application processes and the software and, you know, getting her approved in the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs system, finding a unit for her, getting the unit inspected and approved and all of that. So she has been great and very patient with us. She is still living outside. So we're trying to work really quickly through the process of learning to get her housed. But she was a referral from Tanya Roper with Hilltop Recovery Ministries. And so Tanya's gonna provide case management for her for the next 2 years while she's a part of this program. And so that's a great community partner that we trust to be able to provide that part of the service for us and have the patience to walk through it with us as well. Part of that, as well as the landlord engagement program, having a voucher is only good if you have a landlord that's willing to accept it. So Mary has been using all of her connections. As y'all might recall, she worked with the Housing Authority for 30 some years. She has a lot of connections with landlords in the community. So she's been really reaching out and trying to find, especially mom and pops that are willing to house these individuals and work with us through that landlord engagement program with those incentives. And she's got a lot of great prospects. We don't have anybody on the hook yet, but we feel pretty confident that we will pretty soon. And that's it. Any additional questions?
Council?
I want to add that, not only do you guys, your team, so when we're repairing homes, generally the family member has to find people to help them move things around. And it's hard to do because a lot of them are old, but your team does come out voluntarily and move items. And so I think that's big in caring that they see you not only coming in to come serve them, but to help them throughout the process. So I want to commend you guys on that.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank y'all. I
Thank you
appreciate
for the goodies.
it. Buford and I have this secret sauce thing.
Oh, good. Nancy, been holding that one back the whole time.
Hi, everyone. I don't have any sausage. I didn't know that I was. Maybe next.
Don't forget,
Bring it
next
down.
time.
Go on.
So today we're going to talk about the first quarter of fiscal year 24. This is our team. We are fully staffed. We've been fully staffed for some time now. We have a great team here to serve the organization and the community. So some things we've done in the first quarter was we completed the fiscal year 24 market study, gathering all that data and analyzing it. We launched a management training program. We finalized an online employee directory system and an automated pay chart. Also, it has a compensation guideline, which is the market rate information. We hosted the Years of Service event and also the employee Christmas party back in December. So some things we're working on right now, we're continuing rolling out the management training program. We have had the supervisor level, we do them by levels. So we've had supervisor management and the leadership level, one session of all of those, and we're continuing that program. We're going to finalize the recommendations for the market study, and you're working closely with budget on that. We will give them the calculations we come up with from that. We will publish a job description library, so that'll be online where employees and everyone in the organization can go and pull up any job description for any position in the city. We're working on uniform org charts for all departments, so everyone's org chart will look consistent. They will both be public and private facing, meaning private back end, organization-wide. We'll have access to look at them and make updates and changes, but we'll also have them published publicly. We are formalizing a volunteer internship program. There are various departments in the city that have those programs, but we're putting that all into one organized department, into our department, for the inception of the people coming into that program, running all of their required screenings, and then working with the departments to get them placed in departments. And then we have some enhancements coming to Dayforce. We're rolling out our learning management system in Dayforce. We are going to be launching an employee recognition platform that we're currently implementing right now. We will be looking at all of our employee benefits and conducting some RFPs that are needed. We'll be coming back to you with that information later this year. And then we are working on a comprehensive employee safety program. So this is our legal.
No wood chippers, apparently.
I'm sorry?
No wood chippers, apparently.
No. Sorry. Lead with the Purpose, that is our management training program, and these are some pictures from the supervisor level that we held back a couple months ago, and we had 25 attendees in that one, and then the management level we had 16. So this is a variation of some supervisors, which are frontline, crew leader, foreman type positions, and then some management level, which are the managers and such. So our KPI data, recruiting is where we'll start. This is the top 4 positions that we received applications for on the left-hand side for the months of October through December. It's been pretty historical that the administrative type positions get the most job applications is what we see. So you'll see those numbers there. The top one out of the whole quarter was an administrative assistant 3 posting back in October. The total applications by month, October was our busiest month. All new positions that come into the city, we generally get those posted in the month of October, so we get a lot more applicants during that month. By source, this continues to be about the same over the last year or two that we've been tracking it, but Indeed is our #1 source where we get candidates from, followed by our city website. So that's pretty consistent. Our new hires by month, October and November were the 2 busiest months for bringing on new hires. And then the top departments are Public Works and Parks. The other is just a myriad of all the other departments, new hires for that time period. So we always like to talk about the civil service testing. That is something that is a big priority for us. Filling the police department positions essentially is one of our top priorities. So this chart on the left tells you how many people registered for the exam, how many came and showed up for it, and then what number passed it. So October and November numbers were shown there. That was the first quarter testing that we did. We had a lot of people sign up for November, 64, but we only had 20 actually show up for that one. We had 9 pass, and that's historical, about a 50% pass rate. And then in October, our pass rate was a little higher than 50%. 12 passed out of the 20. You'll notice that fire, we generally only need to do a fire entrance exam once a year because we get a lot more people applying, a lot more show up, and a lot more pass. So our list doesn't exhaust as quickly. We had 148 apply for the fire test. Almost half of them showed up. And again, here you have a little over half that actually passed the exam for fire. So we track how quickly our new hires complete their process or if they do it within the time frame allotted. And that is over on the left-hand side. So our task completion for October was at 70%, and November and December were both tied at 77%. Those are tasks like completing their review and acknowledgement of the policy manual, their direct deposit form. So some of those types of things you do when you first start. Over on the right-hand side at the top, we track if they have completed their new hire orientation within 6 days. When we ran this data back in early January, November was looking kind of low, but that's because December we did not have a new hire orientation, and some of the November people got moved to the late January one in February. I checked it again just yesterday, and we're at 76% for November right now. But that's why that number looks a little low. Our percentage of new hires that are completing their benefit enrollment, which is very important. You'll see here at the bottom, December, we had a 93% completion rate, which we're very happy with. Of course, we want it to be 100%, but 93 is better than we had for November and October. These are the we call them position and compensation change forms in the system. These are anything that happens with an employee or their position that come through the system. They used to be the yellow papers that were called PAFs. You'll see in October, we processed the most for the quarter at 159. And then you'll see the other two numbers are pretty close for November and December. This is our turnover data for that quarter, the first quarter. So we had 7 people who responded to our exit survey, which you'll see here. Of those 7, the number one reason they stated for leaving was dissatisfied with management, followed by over on the left-hand side, you'll see other work environment and lack of advancement as the reasons there. Just so you know, because it's 7 people, 2 people responded dissatisfaction with management, and that puts the percent at 27%. That's such a small pool.
How many boxes can they check?
A whole bunch. There's like 10 boxes that are listed. Some of them, like here on the screen, I think you see about 8 of them, but some of them no one checked, like education, things like that.
So if they're upset, they can check everything.
They can check every box they want. Yes. Yeah.
And the number of respondents being 7, how many people could have responded?
That is, I believe, back over on turnover screen. Was it here? I don't have that exact number, but I can get it for you.
Is it a small percentage?
That's a very small percentage, yeah.
Okay.
So
So
generally in a quarter would have upwards of 25 or 30 people at least that are turning over.
So generally we have 20 or 30 turning over, but 7 responded.
Yeah.
So a big percentage are just simply not responding.
Correct. And that's one of the things that's being rolled out in Dayforce as an enhancement here, and actually the next couple of weeks. It's an offboarding process that all people leaving the organization will go through. And that's where they'll say where they want their paycheck and all their new address and all of that. So they'll be required kind of to fill it out. I mean, they can still skip questions. We aren't going to, go force someone to answer questions, but it'll be something that's more in line with the processes that are in place. Where this process today, what happens is we get told someone's leaving. We call them on the phone. We heard you're leaving. We're going to send you an email. Could you please fill out the survey? Then we call them and remind them, and then they leave, and then
they're done.
So it's a manual process.
Sure.
So we're hoping to get more data in the next few months, start getting that. The turnover rate is up at the top here. If you look at the top right, it tells you the turnover rate for each month. And then the bottom will tell you what areas. So those are broken out even farther, deeper down, a deeper dive than just department level. Those are like divisions within departments to tell you where the biggest turnover is. And again, some of them look high, like if you look at November, it looks like 33% left in evidence and latchkey, but that could have been like one person if there's only 3 people in that divisional area.
Well, and also the pool, I mean, people turn over because we're not, oh, wait, that's Salmon's. I'm sorry, never mind.
Yeah, latchkey is the after-school programs. And so,
That probably got coded from a long time ago. Like the, what is, that was popular a while ago.
Yeah.
I heard that in a while.
that's actually one of the projects we're working on in Dayforce.
Key on their necklace and send them home from school.
Is we're working on all of the organization-wide, all these department names, division names. We're updating all of that. So hopefully over the next 6 months to a year, these will be coded where it's a little more easy for everyone to understand where they are.
I think we probably don't call it latchkey anymore.
Yeah. No, that definitely came over as a term from our old software, H5, when we imported.
1981.
Could have been. I do remember that term though. It was like, yeah, when kids get home from school and their parents are, you're a latchkey kid.
It was like 70s and 80s.
You don't even have keys anymore. You have a code on your door now, right?
But see, they're not really even, the problem I have with that is they're in our after
They're
school
not.
programming, so they're not latchkey kids.
Yeah. I don't know, like maybe they called it that because they were calling it the opposite. We want to take in all the latchkey kids, so they aren't going to be that anymore. Maybe, I don't know. So that's the end of our presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good.
Well, thank
I
you.
forgot you all were, people operations, and I thought, oh, what is that? I forgot about it. When did you become people operations?
I think it was back in April of 23 last
Oh
year.
my God.
Last April. So it hasn't been that long, just last April.
That does sound better than human resources. It sounds like cows or something.
I guess, but it totally threw me. I thought, who are these people? And then I saw Tara and I thought, okay.
It's all cyclical, right? It used to be personnel department and then that went out of style and human resources and now that,
Yeah.
you can't be a human resource anymore, so.
Yeah, now everyone confuses you with human services, like health and human services. Lots of calls every day about that. They got the wrong place, or human resources. You watch those shows on TV and you think all that we do is fire people because that's what they do on TV. So you don't want that reputation.
In general, are you, what are you seeing as the ebb and flow of employees coming, going? Are they, is it slowing down? Is it speeding up? Is it
I would say.
people more qualified now that we're kind of past the crazy, hiring issues? What are we seeing?
So some positions are still extremely difficult to find, especially if it's unique position. It is still very competitive out there. I mean, just like with every market study, every time we look, you see that your competitors are increasing their pay or doing other things to try to get people. As far as people leaving the organization, I feel that the turnover has gotten better. The people who are leaving are usually not because of pay or things like that. So some of the changes that we've made, like during the last market study, I think have been very impactful and positive. Our recruitment for regular, not hard to fill positions, I feel like has been easier. And we've heard that from some of the departments as well, that they're not struggling as much to get people to apply and to come in. We did have a hiring event, citywide hiring event yesterday, and I believe the number is 364 attendees so that was a great event that we had yesterday.
Good. Very good. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next item is, we will go into executive session. It's currently 3:37. And, we'll discuss the employment duties and work plan of city manager, city attorney, director of finance, city secretary, and municipal court judge. Next is government code 551-074. City council will meet in executive session to discuss the employment and duties of city manager, attorney, finance secretary, and judge. No final action will be taken.